What's up guys, welcome back to my channel, and in this video I'm going to solve the complete 11 Neco Mathematics 2021 examination question. But in this particular video I'm going to solve the first 5 compulsory questions. Then in the subsequent videos I'm going to solve the remaining 6. Of course, we are aware that you are to answer 10 questions out of 11 questions from this examination, in which the first 5 are compulsory. These first 5 carries 8 marks each, while the remaining 5 questions carries 12 marks. So if you have any question, remember, drop it in the comment box down below. And if you really want to support this channel, if you want to appreciate what I'm doing, subscribe to this channel, like and share it to your friends. So without further ado, let's jump right into it. So before we start solving it, this is a breakdown of the question. This is the question. You can see it's actually a live question, right? So this is the instruction. You can go through the instruction. Then we have the first compulsory questions, first 5 compulsory questions. Can you see it? Attempt all this part. Then we have attempt 5 questions from this. You can see there are many ones. You can see, so total of 11 questions. So without wasting much more of our time, let's get started. Alright, our very first question, question 1, it says, without using mathematical table, find the value of log 6 base 10. We have log 6 base 10 plus log 45 base 10 minus log 27 base 10. Right? So in this case now, of course, we know that there are laws of logarithm, which says that whenever what is between them, if it is log x base 10 plus log y base 10, what you need to do is, since the base are the same, the base, this log, and you see the base are the same, you simply just need to say log base 10, then we carry this x, then this, the addition now will become multiplication. So multiply it by y, since the bases are the same, so you'll be having something like this. So if that's the case, now we're going to use the same thing. Since all the bases are the same, addition turns multiplication and subtraction turns division. So we're going to say this is going to be log base 10 to the power of, let me say, log 6 base 10. We say 6, then this addition will turn to multiplication, so we'll multiply by 45, right? So we have our minus log 27 base 10. So now what we're going to do is we're going to multiply these things here. If multiply it, we're going to have log, this is our calculator, so we have 6 times 45 is equal to 270. So we have log 270 base 10. Then we have minus log 27 base 10. So now what is between them now is subtraction. I would have done it at the same time, but because I want to break it down for you to understand, so we're going to change this one now to division, because subtraction in this law is division. So since the bases are the same, all of them have log base 10. So the log of 10, we have log of what? We have base 10. So now it's going to be 20. It's 270 divided by 27, right? So so if you divide this using your calculator, 270 divided by 27. Of course, the answer is 10. So we're going to have this equals to log base 10, 10. And in the law of log says that when you have log of anything to its base, is simply equals to 1. Right? So if that's the case, then this is actually log of 10 base 10 is same thing as 1. So therefore our answer is equals what? 1. So even if it is 100, log 100 to base 100, of course it's going to be 1. That's what the law says. The law says the log of anything to its base is equals to 1. So our answer is 1. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 1b says solve the equation 8 to the power of x equals to 32. Of course, this is a very simple question using law of indices. We have 8 raised by x to the equals to 32. Of course, now what you need to understand here is that you have to look for the lowest possible number that both 8 and 32 will make it the same base. And what is that? Of course, 2, because 2 raised by 3 is equal to what? 8, and 2 raised by 5 is equal to what? 32. So since now we have the same base, it is actually very easy now. So we're going to say this one is going to be 2 to the power of 3, right, which is 8. Remember, we have our x, this x here, right? Then we have equals to, this will be what? 2 to the power of 5. So now there's another order of indices which says that whenever you have x to the power of a, close bracket, b, it's same thing as this a multiplying by this b. So it's going to be x raised by ab. So if that is the case, that means we can multiply this 3 and x. So it will be 2 raised by 3 times x is 3x is equals to 2 raised by 5. And in this point, since the braces are the same, we always equate the what? We always equate the numerator. So if we always equate the power. If we equate the power, we only pick the power. So we only have 3x is equals to 5. We only pick the powers. Leave the base, right? Since they are the same. So now would this be divide both side by what? Both side by 3. So say divide both side by 3. So divide both side by 3. This one is going to be divide by 3 and divide by 3. So our x now is equals to 5 over 3. Of course, this is an improper fraction. We have to change it. So 5 divided by 3, of course, it will go 1 time, remainder 2 over the 3. So this is the answer. Very simple, right? So let's move to the next question. Question 1c says simplify 81 to the power of 1 over 6 over 27 to the power of minus 1 over 9. So it will be more easier if we make it like this. 81 to the power of 1 over 6 divided by this line now. This line will turn into division, which is the same thing as 27 to the power of minus 1 over 9. So if you do it this way, it is more easier. Now, remember the law of indices that says that when you have x to the power of minus a, it's the same thing as this minus will turn to 1 over x to the power of a. This is law of reciprocal, right? Negative power will turn to reciprocal. So when you have this, that means we can change this into the same form. So with this now, we'll have 81 to the power of 1 over 6, then divide by, now this minus will be 1 over, then the 27 to the power of 1 over 9. This minus I have turned to 1 over. So same thing in mathematics. If you have 1 over a divided by a over c, you have to take reciprocal, and if you take this reciprocal, the division here will turn to subtraction, and this fraction will turn upside down. So you'll be having 1 over a times now c over a. Is that right? So that is the same method we're going to use for this, since we have 1 over 27 to the power of 1 over 9. So we can balance this one with 1. If we balance this one, we'll be having 81 to the power of 1 over 6 over 1, now times, now the 27 will be at the top, 27 to the power of 1 over 9, then over 1. Can you see? So with this now, if we continue, it's going to be equals to anything divided by 1 is same thing as nothing, right? So 81 over 1 is same thing as 81 to the power of 1 over 6. Then we have our times. Then 27 over 1 is same thing as 27 to the power of 1 over 9. Now with this, we have a simple equation here, or we have a simple work. Why? We're going to look for a number that both 81, this 81, sorry, 81 and 27 will go in. They will be there. They will a number that a smallest number that both 21 and 27 and 81 will be a power to it. We're going to look for, in this case, we're going to look for a number, a smaller number that will go into 81 and 27, so that we can put them in a form of power, just like the previous question. So as we are aware that 81 is something as what, 3 to the power of 4, right? And 27 is equals to 3 to the power of 3. So we're going to utilize this. It's going to be now 3 to the power of 4, and we know that we have 1 over 6. Then times, we have 3 to the power of 3, and we still have 1 over 9. And remember the law that says when you have x raised by a, b is going to be, right, this a will multiply by b, you have x raised by a b. So that means this once in the power inside will multiply the power outside. So this is going to be 3 to the power of 4. This balances, we can balance out with 1, so that 4 will multiply by 1. So 4 times 1 is 4, over 1 times 6 is 6. So we have times 3 to the power of 3, balance 1 with 1. This power with 3 times 1 is something as 3. Then 1 times 9 is something as 9. Then something can go, right? What can go? This 2 here is 2, and 2 here is 3. Then 3 here is 1, 3 here is 3, right? If we do that, we'll be left with 3 to the power of 2 over 3 times 3 to the power of 1 over 3. So now, remember the law of indices that says when you have x to the power of a times x to the power of b, since the base are the same, you just add the power. So it's going to be x is by a plus b. So we're going to utilize this in this case. So it's going to be, so in this case, we're going to add the powers. Of course, it's going to be now 3 raised by 2 over 3 now plus 1 over 3. We only pick one of the base and add the powers. So now in this case, we are left with fractions. So let me pick the fraction, this fraction, and manipulate them. Then we're coming back to it. So we have, let me do that up here. We have 2 over 3 plus 1 over 3. So what I'm going to do, remember the denominators are the same. If the denominators are the same, you only add the numerator. So it's going to be 2 plus 1 over 1. Carry just one of the 3. That's how we do in mathematics. Since the denominators are the same, the fraction, just pick one of the denominator and add the numerator. So it's going to be 3 over 3. So this is same thing as 3 to the power of 3 over 3, right? So which is 3 into 3, here is 1 and here is 1. So you're left with 3 to the power of 1, and 3 to the power of 1 is same thing as 3. So that is the answer. Very simple. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 2a. The question says a straight line passes through a point A. So we have the point A, 3 and 0. Then B, we have 2 and minus 1. So find I, the gradient of the line, and I should find the equation of the line. This is actually very simple. It's not hard. So for I, let's find the gradient. What is the gradient? Of course, we know that the straight line always exists in the form of ax. Of course, we know that straight line equation always is always in the form of y is equals to mx plus c, whereas this m now is actually the gradient, and there's a formula for calculating that gradient. So what's the formula for calculating the gradient of a straight line? It's given by m is equal to m equals to y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So where is our y1 and where is our y2? Actually x1, and this is y1. Then this is x2 and this is y2. Can you see? So with this you will be able to calculate it, right? So So we're going to say, let's substitute it. Wherever we see our y2, put our values, right? X1, all those things. Whenever we see those alphabet, we're going to put our values. So it's equals to, what is our y2? Our y2 from our is -1, right? So we're going to say -1. Then we have minus, and y1 is 0, so which is 0. Then over x2, which is 2. So say 2 minus x1, which is 3. So we have 3, right? So this is equals to -1 minus 0 is -1 over 2 minus 3 is -1. So -1, the gradient now is actually equals to 1, because -1 divided by -1 is 1, right? Answer is 1. So now the next question is to find the equation. That's 2. Find the equation. How can we find the equation? Of course, there's a formula for it. Since we say that it is always in the form of this linear equation of a straight line, or equation of the line is always in the form of y is equal to mx plus c. So there's a formula for it, and the formula is y minus y1 is equals to m, which is our gradient, right, multiplied by x minus x1. That's it. That's the formula. And if you substitute it, since we have calculated our m, what is our y? We have y minus our y1, of course, is 0, right? So we have 0 here. Is equals to, what is our m? Our m have been calculated as 1, the gradient, right? So we have 1. Then open the bracket, which is multiplication. What is our x? We don't have x. Minus x1 is actually 3. So we have 3. Close the bracket. So this is actually y minus 0 is same thing as y, equals to, open this bracket with 1. 1 times x is x, minus 1 times 3 is 3. So this is the equation of this line. Y is equal to x minus 3. Very simple. Let's move to the next question. Alright, number 2b. The question says ABCD is a parallelogram with AD equals to 8 centimeters, line AB is equal to 6 centimeters, and angle ABC is equal to 60 degrees. So let's draw the parallelogram so that we understand the question better. So this is a parallelogram. So we can label it ABC. We have A, B, C, and D, right? So now remember that line AD is 8 centimeters. So this is 8 centimeters, and this one will also be 8 centimeters because they are the same. Parallelogram, opposite lines or opposite sides are parallel and are the same or equal. Then line AB is 6 centimeters. So this place is what? 6 centimeters, and that means this place will also be what? 6 centimeters. Then we have angle ABC. That means the angle is at B is 60 degrees. So this is here 60 degrees. So we can customize a height like this because we want to use it probably. So the first question says we should find the area of triangle ABC. So triangle ABC is going to be something like this. So this is triangle ABC, A, B, and C. So we have to find the area of triangle ABC. So we say I. So area of ABC, what is the area of a triangle? The formula is given by area is equals to half base times height. Yeah, so we have the base, that's 8 what centimeters, but we don't have the height. This is not the height, this is a slant height, but not the height. The height is simply what is here. We have to find this height. If we find the height, it will be better for us because we are going to calculate the area of this triangle. So now how can we find the height? Of course we can find it because this is a right angle triangle. So we have a right angle triangle there. So we have a triangle like this, which is a right angle triangle. You can see that this place is 60 degrees. Then we have 6 centimeters here. We have x here, and that's what we're going to find, right? So we are finding x. So we're going to find the relationship between, of course, this is the hypotenuse and this is the opposite. So what is the relationship between opposite and hypotenuse? If we check our SOHCAHTOA, of course, SOHCAHTOA, sine is equal to opposite over hypotenuse, cos is equal to adjacent over hypotenuse, and tan equals to opposite over adjacent. So the relationship between this is opposite and hypotenuse, which will be sine, right? So we're going to say sine what? 60. So it says we're going to find height. Our problem is to find the height. So we say sine 60 is equals to our opposite, which is what? Our opposite is now x over hypotenuse is now 6. So now what is sine 60? Sine 60 is 0.8660. So it says 0.8660 is equals to x over 6. Balance this one with 1 and cross multiply. If you cross multiply, of course, it's going to be x equals to 0.8660 times 6. So multiply it. So x will be equals to, so let's multiply it and see, times 6 is 5.19. So 5.19, we can say 5.19 what? Centimeters. So we've gotten our height, right? We've gotten our height. So we can now go back to the formula and substitute them. So we have our A now is equals to half times what is the base? 8 times the height, which is what? 5.19. Remember the question said we should leave our answer in 3 significant figures, right? So this is going to be, now this is going to be 2 here is 1 and 2 into 8 is 4, right? So we have now 4 area is equals to 4 times 5.9, 5.19. So we multiply it times 4. We're going to get 20.78 because it's in 3 significant figures. It's going to be 20.8, right? 20.8. So it's going to give us 20.8 centimeter square. So this is the area. So the easiest way is to just to find the height. If you find the height, you multiply it by the base, divide it by 2. You will get the area of that triangle, which is 20.8 centimeters square. So the second part of the question, that's 2. We have to find the area of the parallelogram ABCD, right? So now, what's the formula for finding the parallelogram? Parallelogram is given as area is equal to base times height. So with this, we already have the height and we have the base, right? So what is our base? The base is same thing as 8. So it's same thing as equals to 8 times the height, which we've gotten earlier, which is what? 5.19. So 5.19. So let's multiply 8 times 5.19. It's 41.52. Remember, it's in 3 significant figures, so it's going to be 41.5. So area now, what? Centimeter square. Remember to put square because it's area. So that's this question. For this question, all for this question, let's move to the next question. Alright, number 3A, we have an interesting question here. A village P is 12 kilometers from village Q. It takes 3 hours 20 minutes to travel from Q to P and back to Q by a bird. If the bird travels at a speed of 6 kilometers per hour from P to Q and 6 plus x kilometer per hour back to P, find the value of x. Oh, of course, I know some people reading this have already been confused, but this is incredibly simple question. So let me explain to you. So this board now, we have a point here, P. So let me draw something like this. Point here, P. And So this boat traveled from P to Q, right? Remember that you said that a village P is 12 kilometers from Q. So the distance between P and Q is what? 12 kilometers. This one is constant, right? So it takes about 3 hours 20 minutes to travel from Q to P and back to. So the overall time for the boat to travel from P to Q and back to, from Q to P and back to Q. So we have the total time is equals what? 2 hours 20 minutes. So that's the total time the boat took the boat from P to Q and back to Q. Okay, so now the question says if the boat traveled at the speed of 6 kilometers per hour from P to Q. So when it was going from P to Q here, like this, it has the speed. It used the speed of what? The speed now we said for this one, speed is equals to 6 kilometers per hour. Of course, you know that speed is measured in 6 kilometers per hour. That's the time the boat used in moving from P to Q. And when it was returning, it did not use the same speed, right? There is high possibility you will travel from one state to another. When you're coming back, you might not use the same speed. So then if the boat travels at speed of 6 kilometers per hour from P to Q, right? And 6 plus X back to P. So when it was going back, it used different speed. And in this case, the speed here is equal to 6 plus X kilometer per hour back to P. So we have to find X. So how are we going to do? Of course, the best thing to do is to first find the time it took the boat to travel from P to Q. After getting it, then you subtract it from this total time. If you subtract it, the remaining one now will be the time it took the boat to return from Q back to P, right? And with that one, we'll be able to get our X. I don't know whether you understand it. You first calculate the time since you have the distance, right? Which is 12 kilometers, and we have the speed that it travels from P to Q, 6 kilometers per hour. Then that means you can calculate the time. And if we calculate the time, we'll subtract it from the total time. Then we'll be left with the time it took the boat to travel from Q back to P. So we're going to say time from P time from P to Q, right? Time from P to Q. We're going to say what is time? Of course, we use this formula. Speed is equal to distance over time. So with this, we can make time the subject formula by saying cross multiply, you have a speed times time, right? Is equals to distance. So we are looking for time. We divide both sides by speed. Speed times time is equals to distance. So divide both sides by speed, as we said, because we are looking for time. So this speed will cancel this speed, and we're left with what? Time now is equals to distance over speed. So what is the distance? Of course, the distance is 12 kilometers, right? So we say 12 over the speed it used was what? 6 kilometers per hour. So we say 6. And therefore, the time is going to be 12 divided by 6 is 2 hours. So it took the boat 2 hours to travel from P to Q. right? So now if we want to get the time from Q to P, we're going to subtract. We'll say time Q to P is going to be what? The total time, which is what? 2 hours, 20 minutes, minus what? 2 hours. These 2 hours here. We subtract it. If we subtract it that way, of course, we're going to have our time now. The time now is going to be time. That's time from Q to P, right? It's going to be 2 hours minus 2 hours, 20 minutes minus 2 hours is going to be 1 hour, 20 minutes. Can you see? So we've gotten the time to travel from P back from Q back to P. So that means we can now use this to find our X. So how are we going to do this? So for this one now, it will be better if we convert this time into minutes. It will be very okay. It will be better now if we divide this total time into minutes. So now we're going to do what I'm going to do is that we're going to divide this time, the total time, by 60, so that we can have a number that it is solid on its own. So how we're going to do? We're going to say this hours. How many minutes make an hour is 60. So this 1 hour is 60 plus another 20 minutes is going to be give us what? 60 plus 20 is 80 minutes. So this 80 minutes. So if we say 80 minutes, this 80 divided by 60. So we say our time now is still the same thing. It's going to be 80 divided by 60. Use your calculator. Why we're doing this? Why we're doing this is to make sure we have a solid value, right? To avoid all those conversions. So we're going to say 80 is equals to 1.3. So we have equals to 1.3. So that's the time now. We have 1.3. So we've gotten our time now as 1.3. Is that not? So we still are going to use this formula. This formula that we use here, time is equal to distance over speed. So we say time is equal to distance over speed. Write it in short. So in this case, what is our time? Our time is 1.3, right? So we have 1.3 is equal to what is our distance? Our distance of from Q back to P is still what? 12, because they have the same distance, 12 kilometers. So we have 12 kilometers over what is our speed? Our speed has been given as 6 plus x. So we say 6 plus x, right? 6 plus x. So we cross multiply. If we cross multiply, balance this with 1, cross multiply, you're going to have 12, or you're going to have first one is what? It's going to be. So in this case, if you cross multiply, you're going to have 1.3 is multiplying the whole of what? 6 plus x. Remember, is multiplying both of them. So I'll put it in a bracket to make it more simple. So it's equals to our 12 times 1, which is same time as 12. We cross multiply. This one here will multiply by this, and this will multiply by this. So that's why you can see 1.3 is multiplying by 6 plus x, and 1 is multiplying by 12, which is same time as 12. So we open this bracket, it's going to be 1.3 times 6. This one will multiply by this, and it will multiply by this, right? So we said 1.3 times 6, of course, is going to be 1.3 times 6, 7.8, right? 7.8, which is approximately 8. So we have 8, have 8, then plus 1.3 times x is 1.3x is equals to 12. So collect items. This 8 will move to the other side. We have what? 1.3x is equals to 12 minus 8. Right? So this is going to be 1.3x is equals to 12 minus 8 is what? 3. So 3. Divide both side by 1.3. So 1.3 here, 1.3. So this will cancel this, right? So our x is equals to 3 divided by 1.3 is equals to 2.3. 2.3. 2.3. So that is our x. So this is our x, 2.3. So this is the value of x because the question said we should calculate the value of x, and the value of x is what? 1.3 is value of x is 2.3, which we can approximate it to be what? We can approximate it to be 2. Alright, question 3b. The question says find the quadratic equation whose roots are 2 over 3. So we have 2 over 3 and 3 over 4. So how are we going to go about this? It's just simply by saying equate it to x. So it will be x is equals to 2 over 3 and x is equals to 3 over 4. So by the time you move this to the other side and move this one too to the other side, it's going to be x. Now it will be minus, right? 2 over 3, and we have what? X minus 3 over 4. So if you've done that, then we put them inside a square bracket, which will be what? X minus 2 over 3, close the bracket, then we have x minus 3 over 4. So now we open the bracket. That means this x is going to multiply by this x, and it's going to still multiply by this, right? And the same thing will happen. This one here will multiply by this, and it's going to multiply by this. So if we do that, we know that it will be, first one will be x times x, which is x squared. Then we have x times minus 3 over 4. So it will be minus 3x over 4. Then we have minus 2 times x, which will be minus 2x over 3. Then we have minus 2 over 3 times minus 3 over 4. So minus minus is going to be plus. Then 2 times 3 is going to be 6. So write 6 here over 3 times 4 is 12. So we have 12 here. Right? So the next thing to do is let's take the LCM. So remember we have x squared minus 3x over 4 minus 2x over 3, then plus 6 over 12. Right? So with this, you can balance this one with 1, and you can equate these to 0. So you can equate them to 0, equate this one to 0, and equate these to 0 because it's equation. So find the LCM, you draw a line, find the LCM. The LCM of the denominator, that's the LCM of 4, 3, and 12, which is what? 12. So 12 divided by 1 is same thing as 12. And the 12, the answer, times x squared is 12x squared. So we have 12x squared. Then we have our minus sign here. We'll put it there. Minus 12 divided by this 4 is 3, right? And the 3 times the numerator, which will be 9x. So we write 9x. Then next we have minus. Then 12 divided by 3 is 4. And 4 times the numerator, which is 2, is going to be 8x. So we have 8x, then plus 12 divided by 12 here is 1. And 1 times the numerator, which is 6, is 1. So equals to 0. 0 divided by this one here, even if you balance it with 0 with 1, 12 divided by 1 is 1. 1 times 12 divided by 1 is 12, and 12 times 0 is still 0. So you cancel the denominator because of this equality sign. Whenever we take the LCM of any fraction that has equality sign, we cancel the denominator at the end of the day. So we are left with 12x squared minus 9x minus 8x plus 1 is equal to 0, right? So now you can see that these ones are apparently on the same path. So we're going to say this is going to be 12x squared minus 9 minus 8. Of course, minus 9x minus 8x is going to give us minus 17x. So we have minus 17x. Then we have our plus 1 is equal to 0. So this is the quadratic equation. So that means if you solve this one using the quadratic methods, either the factorization method, the completing the square, or the graphical method, you are going to end up having these ones as the roots. So let's move to the next question. All right, question 4a. We have a differentiation here. Of course, you know differentiation, a lot of students are having issue with it because not all schools have integrated this into their mathematical curriculum. But it's actually very, very simple. But it should not be a new thing to the further maths students, right? Those ones are into further maths. So let's see. The question says differentiate y is equal to x squared minus 1 plus x squared with respect to x. So now, whenever you have this kind of question, check it. Whenever it's a fraction, in form of fraction, use what we call the quotient rule, right? The quotient rule. So we're going to use the quotient rule. Remember, we have y is equal to x squared over 1 plus x squared. So now we have the quotient rule, right? The quotient rule is that the formula is v du dx, right? Minus u dv dx over v squared. So don't worry, you don't need to prove how these formulas come into existence, but just know that you use quotient rule and this is the formula. So now in this question now we're going to make u to be the numerator and v the denominator, right? So we're going to say let u is equals to x squared and v equals to 1 plus x squared. So the u will be the numerator and v will be the denominator. Now we are going to differentiate this u in respect to x. Thus we said the u the x. So how do we differentiate in uh, mathematics? Of course, when you have x squared, the rule here is to multiply this 2 by the x. So it's going to be 2 times x. Then you subtract 1 from the numerator. Can you see? So that means we're going to have 2x raised by 1, in which we don't need to write the 1. So if we differentiate this x squared, we're going to have 2x, right? So that's very, very simple. So if that's the case, we're going to have equals to, we have differentiated this u in respect to x is going to be 2x. Then we are going to differentiate this one, right? That's the v in respect to x. So we have 1 plus x squared. Now, whenever you have a constant, anything that doesn't have an alphabet, we call it a constant. If you differentiate it, you're going to have 0. So even if it is 100, if you differentiate 100, it's going to be 0. So that means this is 0 plus, and if you differentiate 2x raised by 2, which is almost the same thing, which is the same thing with this, you carry this 2 multiplied by the x, 2x to the power of 2 minus 1, which is same thing as 1. So 0 plus 2x, same thing as 2x, right? So in that case, that means if you differentiate this x, 1 plus x squared, you're going to have the v, you are differentiating v in respect to x, is going to be what? 2x, because this one is going to be 0, and if you differentiate this one, will be 2 times x raised to power 2 minus 1, which is same thing as 2x. So we have this. We have our u, we have our v, we have our du dx, and we have our dv dx. Then that means we can now substitute it into the formula. So remember that the formula is what? V du dx minus u dv dx over v squared, right? So if we substitute it into the formula, we're going to have something like this. What is our v? Our v is this. So we'll put our v, which is what? 1 plus x squared. Then multiply by, we have what? Du dx. And what is our du dx? Our du dx is this, 2x, right? So multiply by 2x. Then we have minus u, right? And what is our u? Our u is x squared. So we'll put x squared and dv dx. And what is our dv dx? Our dv dx is 2x, right? So we have times what? 2x. Then so over, what is our v square? Our v square is simply to square our v, which is this, right? So say 1 plus x squared all squared, right? So if we open this up, we're going to have something like this, equals to this one here will multiply by this, and it's going to multiply by this, right? So 2x times 1 is 2x. Then we have plus 2x times x squared is going to be 2x to the power of 3, right? Then we have minus 2x times this 2, because this one multiply by this. 2x times x squared is going to be 2x raised to power 3. Then over our denominator, which is what? 1 plus x squared all squared, right? So if we have this, we are going to have something like this, which is equal to, look at this one here and this one here are the same. So we have just like 1 minus 1 is 0. So 2x to the power of 3 minus 2x to the power of 3, of course, is going to be what? 0. So we'll be left with 2x over 1 plus x squared all squared. So this is the answer. Very, very simple. So if you're confused, you can pause the video and watch again. Let's move to the next question. All right, question 4b. The question says solve the equation. We have 2 over 3 into 3x plus 2. Then we have equals to 3 over 4 into 2x minus 3. This is a very simple question. So what I'm going to do, this will multiply by this, and it's going to multiply by this also. And this will also open this bracket and open this bracket. So it's going to be, if you multiply it, it's going to be 2 over 3 times 3x is going to be, you can just put 3x here. Then we have plus 2 over 3 again, we multiply by 2. Alright, then it's equals to, we have 3 over 4 multiplied by 2x, then we have minus 3 over 4 multiplied by 3. So if you balance this one with 1, balance this with 1, balance this with 1, and balance this one with 1. If you balance this one with 1 now, of course, we're going to have 3 here is 1, 3, cancel this, right? Then thing that can cancel, yes, 4 here, 2 here is 2 and 2 here can go. So we'll be left with, remember it's 1 here, 2 times 1, we have 2 over 1. So now we'll be left with what? 2 times x, right? 2 times x here. So which is 2x. So we have 2x over, balance it with 1. Then we have plus 2 times 2 is 4. 4 now over 3. So 4 over 3, because the denominator is 3 times 1. Then we have equals to 3 times x is 3x. So we have 3x over 2 times 1 is 2. Then we have minus 3 times 3 is 9 over 4 times 1 is 4. Right? So what I'm going to do at this point in time, we have denominators, then we can find the LCM. Find the LCM of the denominator. So find the LCM of the denominator of 3, 2, and 4. Of course, is going to be 12, right? So 12 into 1 is 12, and 12 times 2 is 24x, right? Then we have plus 12 divided by 3 is 4, and 4 times 4 is 16, equals to 12 divided by 2 is 6, and 6 times 3, 6 times 3 is 18. So we have 18x minus 12 divided by 4 is 3. 3 times 9. So we can cancel the denominator. Why? Because there is the presence of equality sign. Remember, I told you whenever we have manipulating fraction that have equality sign, after taking the LCM, we cancel the LCM. Now we have a linear equation where we have what? 24x plus 16 is equals to 18x minus 27. So collect like terms. All these x will move this to the other side, and this number will move to the other side, right? So we'll do that. Of course, we're going to have 24x minus 18x is equals to minus 27 minus 16, right? So 24 minus 18 is equals to 6, right? It's equals to 6x. So we have 6x is equals to minus 27 minus 16. So let's use a calculator. Minus 27 minus 16 is equal to minus 43. So we have minus 43. So we divide both sides by 6. So divide both sides by 6. Okay. So this cancels this. You are left with x is equal to minus 43 over 6. Remember, this is an improper fraction. So we say 46 divided by 3. 43 divided by 6. It will go 7 times. So x is equal to minus. It will go 7 times. Remainder 1, right? 7 times remainder 1 over 6. So this is the answer, right? Minus 7 whole number 1 over 6. Remember that whenever your answer is improper fraction, do well by converting it to mixed fraction. Let's move to the next question. Alright, question 5a. We have a table here. It says that the table below shows the mass of logos, log of roots to the nearest kilogram. So of course we have to find the mean and the mode. We're going to draw a table. So we have this. So we're going to write the mass here. We call it class mass. We have the mass, and we have from 31 to 40. Then we have 41 to 50. Then we have 51 to 60. Then we have 61 to 70. We have 71 to 80. And we have 81 to 90. Right? So then the next thing to do is we find the middle class. That's x, our x. And how we're going to do? We're going to add our lower class mark plus the higher class mark, then we divide it by 2. This is very, very important. You have to add like this one, 31 plus 40, then the answer will divide it by 2. And that's what we're going to do to all the classes. So let's use our calculator. Divide by 2 is 35.5. So we're going to have 35.5 here. Then we say 41 plus 50 divided by 2. Is 45.5. Then continuously, we're going to have, I'm going to speed it up a little because we know what we're going to do here. So this is our x. Then we're going to write the frequency, which is from the question, as f. And we have the first frequency is 3. Then we have 10. Then 15. Then 12. Then 6. Then 4. So these are our frequencies. And it will be nice if you can find the total. So now we're going to add all the, so if you add the total frequency, which will always be summation, that's sum of the frequency. So now let's add it. We have 3 plus 10 plus 15 plus 12 plus 6 plus 4. So 50 is our frequency. So summation f is 50, right? So the next thing is to find the multiply f times x. That's fx, right? So fx now is a multiplication of our x times the f. So for each of the rows, we're going to do the same thing. So the first one will be 35.5 times 3. Is 106.5. This next one we will say 45.5 times 10. Is 455. Next one will be 55.5 times 15. I'm going to speed it up a little. So the next thing is to find the sum of f times x. So we call it summation fx. So let's add all of them together. So we're going to have 10, we're going to have 106.5 plus 455 plus 832.5 plus 786 plus 453 plus 342 is going to be 2,975. 2975. 2975. So the first question, our first question, which is I, it's now time for us to solve it. Our first question, I, we have to find the mean. How can we calculate the mean? Mean is given as x bar is equals to summation fx all over summation f, which is, what is our summation fx? Our summation fx is equals to 2,975 over our summation f, which is 50. So let's divide it. So divide by 50. Is 59.5. So that's our I. Then our II is our mode. And what is mode? Mode is the data that appears most. That's the highest number of appearance, which is what, if you check it, this is what, 15. 15 is having the highest number of frequencies. So that is the modal class. So the modal class, of course, is going to be this. Very important to know that. Why? Because the frequency is having the highest among other frequencies, is the highest, right? So now there's a formula for finding the mode of a data. And what is that formula? The formula is given by mode is equals to into, we're going to have L plus into F1 minus F0 over 2F1 minus F0 minus F2. Then close the bracket. Then time is what? Time is H or H. So this is the formula. Of course, all these things are not big deal. They exist. So what is L? So L now is the lower limit of the model class. So we have L now, and L from our data, lower limit of the model class. The model class is this, the one with arrow. So what is the lowest class limit? The lower class limit is what? 51. This is the higher class limit. So the lower class limit is 51. So we say this is equal to 51, right? Then we have our F1. So what is F1? F1 is the frequency of the model class. So we write F1 is the frequency of the model class. And what is the frequency of the model class? Is what? 15, right? So we're going to write 15 here. Then we have F0 or F0. What is F0? F0 is the frequency of the class preceding the model class. That means frequency of the class before the model class, which is what? This 10. 10 is the frequency of the class preceding of the model class. So we write 10, that's F0. Then we have F2. And what is F2? F2 is the frequency of the class succeeding the model class. That's the class after the model class, which is what? 12, right? So that's, we're going to write 12 here. Then we have H. And what is H? H is actually the size of the class interval. And what is the size of the class interval? It's simply for saying what? 40 minus 31, which is what? 9, right? Or we said 60 minus 51 is 9. So H is equals to 9. So of course, if we use that formula, I'm going to solve it here. We have what? Mode is now equals to, what is our L? Our L from the formula is 51 plus into F1, which is 15, then minus F0, which is 10. Then we say over, what is, we have 2 times F1, which is 15. Then we have minus F0, which is 10, minus f2, which is 12. Then we what cover the bracket, right? Then times h, which is what 9. So in this case, we're gonna have equals to. So this is gonna be equals to 51 plus into 5 minus 15 minus 10 is 5 over 2 times 15 is 30 minus 10 minus 12 times 9, right? So which is equals to 51 plus 5 over 30 minus 10 is 20. 20 minus 12 is actually 8. So we have 8 times 9, right? So which is same thing as, we're going to say 51 plus 5 divided by 8, right? 5 divided by 8. So 5 divided by 8, let's use our calculator. 5 divided by 8. 0.625. 0.625 times 9. So this is going to be, if you multiply, so we're going to say 0.625 times 9 plus 51 is 56.6. So it's also 56.6. So that is the mode, right? This is the mode. Very simple. So I think that's all for this question. All right. This is all for these videos. Remember, I told you we're going to solve the first 5 composite questions, and in my subsequent videos, I'm going to solve the remaining 6 questions, which carries 12 marks each. For this one, each of the question carries 8 marks. So you can just imagine if you successfully solve 5 questions, and of course it is almost half of the question of the total mark. So if you have any question, you can drop it in the comment box down below. And if you really want to support this channel, want to appreciate what I'm doing, you can click on the like button, you can share it, and you can also subscribe to the channel. I will be grateful if you do that. So see you in the next videos. Thanks for watching.